All right, so I just want to give a quick introduction on the Salesforce Partners product line. We have two products, Partner Portal and Salesforce to Salesforce. And the underlying value proposition of this product line is that of choice. Choice to vendors in how they mix and match the two solutions and build a robust partner platform. But as importantly, choice for your partners in how they do business with you, how they transact with you. And the entire goal of this product line is to drive adoption and ultimately drive revenue for you and your channel. So the Partner Portal is an on-demand portal fully built on the Force.com platform, fully customizable, and it's a way for your partners, especially those who don't have their own Salesforce.com instance, to both transact with you on leads, deal registration, and other business processes, but also have access to some of your community type features like ideas, content, partner locator. And it's been out there for nearly 5 years, and most of you should be familiar with portals. It's a 20-year-old technical solution out there. But Salesforce to Salesforce, though, it's something unique to Salesforce.com. It's something only we can provide because of the nature of a multi-tenant architecture. Basically, if your partners have their own CRM instance, you can, using point-and-click technology, directly integrate with their CRM system. And the benefit of that is, as your partners are updating the leads or deals or cases, that information is made available to you automatically. So you don't need to depend on your partner to come to a third-party site or remember their logins in different sites. They just work in their own system, and those updates are coming back to you. And again, the underlying value proposition here is choice. So many of you in this room would probably be using a combination of the two. What we found is, especially in high tech, 20 to 30% of the large partners have their own CRM system. So you'd potentially use Salesforce to Salesforce for that, but for the vast majority of the rest, you use Partner Portal. So now to give you introduction to some of the different sessions we have. This is the first session regarding Partner Management 101. And actually, this session is an output of the feedback we got last year. So one of the feedback we got, especially from prospects, was they wanted a session where they could hear best practices around rolling out a pilot or rolling out, brand new to PRM, don't have a PRM solution currently. How does one roll that out within one's organization? Really get the organization willing to participate in such a program, and also getting your partners willing to participate in such a program. So we have a bunch of sessions, and the key thing around these sessions is, besides the 2 minutes I'm going to speak now, and as well as in the product roadmap, practically all the sessions you're going to be hearing from our customers. So it's going to be customers talking about best practices, customers talking about things that worked, things that did not work. So be ready with all the questions that you have. Pepper them with questions, and make sure you come away from the next 3 days with all the information you need, so that once you go back to your home office, you have all the information to get started. I'm not going to go through all these sessions. A lot of this information is in your welcome packet. But just to highlight a couple of them, we're going to be talking about both our products and how they drive adoption. We're also going to be highlighting some of our newer technologies like case management. So this is the first time Salesforce Partners gives you a way to collaborate with your third-party service partners. So we're going to have a session on that. Also a session on more community-type features like partner locators, ideas, content, and how some of our customers are using sites to really build out their partner platform. Besides that, we have a combination of small customers talking, as well as some large enterprises. So customers who've probably in the first stages of the deployment, also customers who are in phase 2 or phase 3 of their deployment. So we have pretty much sessions for a broad range of customers. So with that, one final thing before I turn it over to Susan, we have a partner booth in the Sales Cloud 2 in the campground. I would highly encourage you to go down there, get a live demo on both our solutions. If you have specific questions on the product, feel free to reach out to me. The SCs at the booth, as well as all the session leaders, know who I am. I think one of the key things for me as a product manager, one of the things I really love about Dreamforce is to meet customers. So I'll be meeting many of you. But if you need to get in touch with me and want to talk about the product and best practices, feel free to do that. So without further delay, hand it over to Susan, who's going to take you through the first session.
Thank you, Adi. And I just want to let you know that wake up. So as I was saying, Adi really means that when he says, feel free to contact him. I'm a consultant with Salesforce.com, and I've had the pleasure to work with Adi with a lot of my customers as we've done PRM, and he's been invaluable and definitely a great resource to reach out to. He's, straight from the horse's mouth. So definitely want to encourage you to ask us any questions. So before we get started, you're going to see this a lot over the next couple of days. You've already seen it before, so I'm not going to belabor the point, but this is our standard safe harbor statement, and essentially it means that anything that you are considering buying as far as Salesforce.com is concerned, you should base that decision on functionality that we have now and not forward-looking functionality. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about over the next hour or so. So what we really want to focus on is, Adi mentioned some of the feedback we got from Dreamforce last year was, we love hearing about the large enterprise deployments, the big complex PRM deployments, but what if I'm just getting started? What do I really need to focus on? What are the things that I should look out for? What should I consider? So we're going to talk to you about what the 5 essentials are in planning a PRM launch. We're going to talk about how you're going to define your resources needed for your PRM launch, regardless of whether you're a staff of 1, as Ken's going to talk about, or you have a slightly larger staff, as Alan had the pleasure, although slightly larger, I will say. I've also worked with other customers in the past that have many folks at their hand to help them with their resourcing. But regardless, we're going to talk about what you need to consider. We're going to talk about how important it is to engage with your pilot partners. So how you get the feedback from your partners in piloting, whether you choose to use Salesforce to Salesforce or PRM portal, how you can engage with your partners and get the feedback. We're going to talk about lessons learned and the wins that we've had from PRM, the things that we did great that we feel proud about, the things that looking back we did have some lessons learned and some takeaways. So we want to share that with you. And then finally, we want to talk about, once we've decided what we need to do, we understand what the 5 PRM essentials are, we understand how we want to staff and how we want to engage with our partners, how do we then keep the ball rolling? Where do we go from here? So that's what we're going to talk about in the next hour or so. So just a little bit about me. So I am a principal consultant with Salesforce.com, and I've had the pleasure to work with Alan on PRM implementation at Lenovo. I've also worked with Avaya on their large-scale PRM implementation. Just a plug, Adi showed you the list of sessions. So I have another session on Friday with Avaya at 9 o'clock. So if you stick it out to Friday and you want to come to that 9 a.m. session, I would love to see you there. So just a little plug for another session. So those deployments, those PRM deployments, have kind of scaled the gamut from smaller scale PRM deployments with a couple of 100 partners to larger scale PRM deployments with a few thousand partners. But regardless of whether it's a large scale or a small scale deployment, there are some things that are just common challenges. The goals and challenges remain the same. So that's a little bit about me, but I want to learn a little bit about the folks we have in the room. So how many people here work with partners? Show hands. Fantastic. How many people here are partners? Okay, so a few. Great. So just wanted to understand, because obviously the things that we're talking about as we put on our customer hat and talk about how we work with partners could also apply to those partners. So how many people here have successfully deployed Salesforce.com SFA? Great. Okay. Anyone using service and support? Okay. How many people here use their partners from not only from a sales perspective, but also from a service perspective? You have your partners doing service too. Fantastic. Okay, great, excellent. So I think as we hear from both Ken and Alan, we'll definitely be able to talk to you about how they're working with their partners, primarily in the sales space, but we can also talk about, and as we get into Q&A, we can also talk about how other customers have used Partner Portal in the service space as well. And I just want to make note that we will have a Q&A session at the end. We definitely do want your questions. We want your feedback. Would love to have a conversation with you. But when it does come time to do Q&A, if you could just step up to the microphones, just for the sake of the recordings that they're doing, that would be fantastic. So if you have partners, you're working with partners, and you don't have a solution in place today, it may be because of some of the challenges that we're going to talk about here, which is some of the things like poor visibility. I don't know my partner's pipeline. I have no reliable way to understand whether they're selling a lot of my products and services or a little. And so it makes it difficult for me from a forecasting perspective to really have an accurate forecast. I have low partner mind share. So there are a lot of people that my partner can work with. There's a lot of competition out there for partners. And so how do you make sure that you're top of mind with your partner? How do you make sure that when they think about who they're going to do business with, they pick you first? How do I have effective partner tools that make it easy for the partner to do business with me? Because not only do I want my partner to think about me first when they have a potential lead, but I then want to make it easy for that partner to get the lead into me and make it easy for me to then accept that lead and work it through my organization. Another challenge that we have oftentimes is low partner adoption. So we can put the best system out there possible that we think we've dotted all our I's and crossed all our T's, and it works, and it's really a great tool. But the partners still don't use it, right? If we don't have the communication plans in place, if we don't have the training in place, if we don't have sort of that change management element in place with our partners, then we can build the best solution in the world, but the partners aren't going to go to it, right? So these are some of the things, some of the challenges that we often have. Show of hands, anybody have one of these challenges? Anybody have more than one of these challenges? Anybody have all these challenges? Right, so, okay, so we know what the problems are, and we know where we want to get to. So we want to be able to recruit new partners. We want to be able to attract those new partners. We want to be able to help manage our partner information. So wouldn't it be great to be able to know at the click of a button how many partners I have that are premier or advanced or certified in certain specialties? Today I might have no clue what that is. I might have a bunch of spreadsheets. I might even have my partners being the ones to tell me if they're certified or not, right? I often have times where I want to reduce my channel conflict to make sure that if I've got a partner bringing me a certain deal in, that I don't have someone else working that same deal. So I want to be able to reduce channel conflict. I want to be able to give my partner the tools to make them more productive. So Mark showed us today content, and we can talk about how we can use content on the PRM portal to make our partners more successful, to give them the right tools to sell for us. We also want to build partner loyalty. So how can we make our partners want to come to us first? And in addition to all that, we want to track our partners' performance. We want to have visibility into the partners' pipeline. We want to understand that if our partners change their opportunity status to go from something that seems a sure thing to something that's now in doubt, whether it's because of the economy or changing product situation, et cetera, if we have that information at the click of a button, it helps us be more proactive and do better forecast planning on our end. So this is where we want to get to. And so it sounds great. Yeah, we would love to be able to do all of those things. But the question is, how do I get there? What do I focus on first? So, at show of hands, everybody said, I know what my problems are. I have those problems. And I know where I want to get to. I know I want to reduce channel conflict. I know I want to build partner loyalty. Those are all great things. But the question is, how do I do that? So what we've come up with is what we're calling the Fab Five. So copyright pending. So these are the PRM essentials. So these are the 5 things that, if you focus on these 5 things, it can help you build success in your PRM implementation. So the first thing is identifying the value to you and your partners. So that's two key elements, to you and your partners. So understanding what is it that I want to provide to my partners with this system, and understanding that you can definitely implement a crawl, walk, run model. So you don't have to give them everything day one, but what are the things day one that they're really going to value? Okay? Is it going to be tools like content and ideas that give them a collaboration forum? Or is it going to be deal registration that's going to give them the ability to register their leads and have them flow through your system in a more automated, efficient process? What's going to be the value to your partners? What's going to be the value to you? So understanding what do you want to get first? And also, where do you want to go from there, right? So understanding that crawl, walk, run value to your partners. The second is knowing your partner community. So in helping to build an efficient partner solution, it helps to know who my partners are. Do they have existing CRM systems? Are they very SFA savvy? Are they existing Salesforce.com users? Or are they PRM novices? Can they not spell PRM or CRM? Are they using spreadsheets and emails today? Is it a very manual process? Because depending upon who your partner is, the level of sophistication, whether they're using CRM today or not, you might choose to build a very different solution. And when we talk about Ken's solution and Alan's solution today, you'll see two different flavors of partners and how we were able to use Salesforce to really address each of those partner communities. The third Fab Five is to build something that works, right? So it sounds simple, but you need to make sure that you, number one, identify what it is that you're going to build first, keeping in mind the value that you've identified to you and your partners, and then making sure that you have a solid plan to execute on that. So make sure that you define what you're going to build, to test what you're going to build, to get partner input on what you're going to build. So all of those things are key in building something that works for you and your partner. Number four, tell them about it. Okay, so make sure that you've built this fantastic system, you've understood the value, you're able to tell them what the value is to the partner, what the value is to you, you've tested it, but now you need to make sure that they understand that this tool is out there. So tell them about it. Do things like, make announcements and make a splash, run contests. So these are the types of things that we'll talk about as we talk to Ken and Alan today. Finally, you want to keep the ball rolling. So you want to keep building on the functionality that you already have. So that's where you go back to number one. So you've identified the value to you and your partners. You've understood what it is that you want to start with. I want to start with partner collaboration. I want to start with deal registration. So that's great. You start with that, but then you need to understand, where am I going from here? Am I making my partner base broader? Am I rolling out from a pilot of 100 partners to 1,000 partners? Or am I expanding my functionality? I started out with deal registration in order to get the ball rolling, and now I'm going to add in content and ideas. So having that idea of a roadmap that then allows you to keep the ball rolling is critical in starting your PRM implementation. So we have here two speakers that are going to show us the Fab Five in action. So how these 5 PRM essentials help them to successfully roll out Salesforce Partners. And we've got 2 stories. Ken Quast from Alexis is going to show us how they use Salesforce to Salesforce in their partner implementation. And then Alan Andrade from Lenovo is going to talk about deal registration with the partner portal. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Ken.
Thank you, Susan. My name is Ken Quast. I'm an IT manager for Alexis North America. I'm a certified Salesforce administrator and have been using Salesforce for about 3 years. Prior to using Salesforce, I was an ACT administrator for longer than I care to admit. We decided to use Salesforce to Salesforce about 8 months ago to help manage our partner opportunities and with our sales reps and distributors. Melexis is a 200 million euro a year semiconductor company servicing the automotive and industrial electronics industry.
So quick, who can convert that to dollars? I can.
We have offices throughout Europe, Asia, and North America. We have 70 users in 9 countries, all using Salesforce Professional Edition. Yeah, that's a lot of users on PE. Our partners are basically our outside Salesforce. No, it's off. I'm just going to use that. Yeah, thank you. And they're electronics distributors and manufacturers' representatives. We currently have 12 partners in 3 countries using Salesforce to Salesforce with connections to our corporate organization. Partners and Melexis both benefit from the collaborative lead and opportunity management sharing, and Melexis really benefits from the enhanced pipeline management, reporting, and dashboards. Why do we do this? Well, we had efficiency and communication challenges that were frustrating for both Melexis and our partners. Some of our biggest challenges were leads, which are perishable, that were getting sent to our reps monthly at best, and were old and of marginal quality by the time they got them. Our sales actions were based on monthly reports, emails, and voicemails. Periodic reporting was slow and ineffective. Sample requests are often followed up by several emails to answer questions and clarify qualifications. Our goal was to create a streamlined and timely process that increased visibility and reduced workload for all of us. By implementing Salesforce to Salesforce, leads are now delivered in real time. We're also leveraging Hoover's data mining and delivering that content to our customers, or to our partners, sorry. Communication time is greatly reduced, especially the telephone tag and voicemails. Real-time data is now available in Salesforce for everyone to view. Sample requirements are now clear. You simply fill in the required fields. There's much less need for follow-up emails and communication. To summarize our goal, simplify. We'll make things as simple as possible for everybody throughout the sales process. Our typical partners are small 1 to 5 person organizations, often independently owned. They're sales professionals and not necessarily tech savvy. Many have little or no CRM experience. They're highly mobile and busy with multiple vendors and responsibilities. Building something that works. For the partners, the solution needed to be inexpensive, easy to learn, and have minimal admin time. Melexis wanted to securely exchange information with our partners, get a real-time view on partner activity, and eliminate unnecessary communication. Based on the requirements, we set up a pilot program. We picked a willing partner, or a couple of willing partners, that we felt had the time, patience, and willingness to provide constructive feedback. Then we defined the processes that we could work on together to bring into Salesforce. Based on the partner requirements, we chose Group Edition Org for its low price, simplified admin, and ease of use. To make it worth their time investing us, we provided free Salesforce orgs for our pilot partners. Based on our requirements, and because we only had a staff of 1, me, we chose Salesforce to Salesforce over the partner portal for its security, flexibility, ease of implementation, and low cost. Did I mention that it was free? It's included in every Salesforce from Group Edition to Ultimate Edition. To make administration easy for our partners, I set up and configured Salesforce and connections, then seeded them with current accounts, contacts, and opportunities. I created a comprehensive user's guide and a quick start guide. The user's guide was a trimmed-down version of our 67-page internal user guide. 67 pages of everything you never wanted to know and much, much more. The quick start guide was 12 pages of common how-do-I items that were common in the day-to-day use of the tool. Which one do you suppose was easier to create and a lot more useful? And I think I'll add this to the lessons learned section. Each partner was given an hour of one-to-one training via web meeting. The training covered not only the clicks, but the CRM fundamentals as well. Then I let them play with it. About a month later, we did another hour of training, answering any of the current questions and looking at some of the more advanced features, like using tasks for important to-dos such as samples and meeting requests. We also covered partner access to custom visit reports that let them see what Melexis is doing with their customers and vice versa. This is an iterative process. Let us see what we've done so far and what we can do going forward. Based on what we've done so far, communication response time in both directions is reduced. Leads are fresher and of higher quality. And there's less back and forth on the status of samples, and there's better partner visibility. Going forward, we have planned to review in the next few months and take user input for enhancements. We want to look at lead assignment rules to further reduce the workload and speed up delivery. And if the initial deployment continues to be successful, we'd like to roll this out to all our partners globally. If you guys have got a couple of minutes, I prepared a brief demo I'd like to give you. Give me a second to get this fired up here. No, you don't need to remember my password, but thank you for offering. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, good. Love it when a plan comes together. Okay, what I've done is I've set up a test org, and I've actually used the Force.com free edition for the test. You can do this with anything, but that's what I've used. I'm going to give you a quick look at the nuts and bolts of how the Salesforce to Salesforce works. I'll show you how objects are linked and how to choose the fields you want to share or view. We'll take a quick look at the field mapping and then walk through a simple lead edit and task creation. I'll log into our corporate org and show you a currently shared lead, quickly review the status, then we'll log into the test org, make some typical edits, and then finally we'll log back into the corporate org to make sure that the edits have been made. Okay, so a couple things to point out. This is, in fact, our corporate org. That's our corporate logo. We are an EMEA company. Melexis NV, we're based in Belgium, so we're on an EMEA server here. We're using essentially the standard configuration, leads, accounts, contacts, opportunities, and so on. This will be a little bit different in the other org that I showed you. So I just wanted to point out that. So this is where really all the Salesforce to Salesforce functionality is managed. This is the Connections tab. This becomes active once you turn on Salesforce to Salesforce. This is all the current connections, all the current partners that we're sharing with. The partner we're going to be looking at today is Melexis Inc. That's my test org. You get some detail of who your users are and some of the connection information. And here you have the published objects details, which are the objects which you are sharing. And you can share or not share any object inside your org. So here we're sharing accounts, contacts, leads, opportunities, product, etc. Subscribed objects are the objects that you're looking at from the other folks' database, so from your partner's database. Again, they have the option of sharing or not sharing on a object by object, field by field basis. So we're going to take a look at some of the stuff that we're looking at, let's say in the, so these are the fields that we're subscribed to. We can automatically have those fields mapped, or if, as in the case of this org, our lead source, this is our field lead source because we use the standard out-of-the-box stuff, does not match the fields in the partners org. They've changed their name from lead source to prospect source. Perfectly legal, perfectly acceptable, and but we do have the ability here to go ahead and accommodate that change that they've made. We could connect different objects together. It's very, very flexible. In addition to being able just to link the objects at the at the field level like we've done here, we can also, if there's drop-down lists on the, this is our partner. They have a drop-down list. We have a drop-down list. They're similar, but not quite the same. Our advertisement lead source and theirs is the same, but their employee referral is likened to our e-com. Their external referral is the same as our press release, etc. So we can go ahead and make some custom mappings there as well. And if for some reason they just really don't match up at all, none. No, they just don't equal at all. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, that's basically the 5-minute overview of how it works. There's a lot of there's additional configuration and so on, but that really covers kind of the basics. So what I want to do is take a look at the leads. Let's take a look at our partner leads. This is again in our corporate org. I'd like to take a look at Mr. John Gardner here. I want to point out that he has a lead status of new, and that currently there are no open activities for this partner, for this customer. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to log out. All right. Thank you. It's right there. I've only done this about a zillion times. And I'm going to log into into my free account.
So Ken, that lead that you looked at is going to be in this org now, in this partner org?
He is. He is a currently shared lead. So he will already be in there, but we're going to make some edits to him and show that they are in fact communicated back to the other org.
So you're logging in now as if you were that partner?
Correct. Thank you. I'm going to log in as the partner. This is my Melexis test org right here. This test org is based in North America, so we're on a completely different server, different continent. It's very different. If we look at the tab structure, this is kind of much more of a tweaked environment. They use prospects instead of leads. They use companies instead of accounts. Again, all perfectly legal, acceptable, and promoted. They also have a connections tab, and it looks just like our connections tab. It's really the same thing. It's just where they manage their stuff. So I'm going to take a look at their prospects, which again is equivalent of our leads. Let's take a look at all partner prospects. And let's see. There's the lead that we want to talk about. And this lead, by the way, has been pre-shared. Sharing is as simple as going down here from a fresh lead and saying forward this prospect. You pick who you want to forward it to. Well, let's just go ahead and open that up. I only have one partner that I can share with here, and it's already been done. But if you had multiple partners over here, you can go ahead and forward it to multiple partners, which generally we don't do ourselves, but the functionality is there to do that. Okay, so as we saw in the other org, he has a status of new. Well, really not anymore. We contacted this guy, so we'll save that. And we would, now that we've contacted this guy, he would like to receive one of our standard letters. So we're going to create a new task, and the subject is going to be send letter. This is something that we understand on on the Melexis side. This is something that we do all the time. I'm going to go ahead and send a notification email, and I do not want a reminder in this case. Go ahead and save this task. And the purpose of saving this is, in our org, this is something that we need to do. I'll need to follow up on this. But what I'm also doing here, more importantly, is sending a task from our org to the corporate org for somebody to act on. So by creating this task in here for myself and sharing it, I'm requesting an action to be taken. And that was the whole notification email thing. They will now get a mail that says, hey, go in, look, there's something you need to do. So here's the task, and this is kind of an important subtlety to point out. Tasks by default are not shared. It's a privacy thing. You get dentist appointments and this and that. Tasks by default are not shared. So to share this task, what I want to do is go to my Manage Connections, pick the partner that I want to share it with. You can do multiple partners. Again, send mail. Done. So now we have an activity. Now, I'm going to go ahead and log out of this account, log back into the corporate account. I remember my password that time. That's a good thing. Okay, go back to the leads, and this time I'm just going to leverage the recent leads history. So I'm lazy. All right, so now we look at Mr. John Gardner. Now has a lead status contacted, as we did on the other side, and there's a task now that says send letter. I will have also received an email in my inbox that says, go in and take a look at this. You have an action that you need to do. Okay, and that was, yes, in fact, a very simple demonstration, but I did want to, not bore you too terribly far. This demonstration just scratches the surface of Salesforce to Salesforce functionality. There's a lot more to it than we have time to cover today. But there is good information inside the help and training section of Salesforce and also on the Salesforce to Salesforce blog. Adi's done a great job keeping that up to date and all current and fresh. Very useful stuff. We've learned a lot in the last 8 months. Has anyone here used packages? Okay, a couple. Packages are a grouping of oh, thank you.
I'm sorry. Here we go. Oops.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, packages, thank you, are a grouping of custom fields and objects that can be easily shared across orgs. They're a real time saver. And using packages to pre-configure the group additions really saved me a lot of time and made things much more consistent from one partner to the next. Good documentation and one-to-one training helped establish expectations and boosted confidence and acceptance. Being available kept the small issues from getting any bigger and really showed a commitment to the partnership. Note here, the quick start guide, good idea. Setup to Salesforce is not complicated, but you do need to put some thought into connection setup. While we wanted early partner involvement, we could have done some more internal testing before we roll it out to our partners. It saved some time on rework and looked a little bit smarter in doing so. Now, a successful pilot, as we've learned, relies on participants with vision, flexibility, and the time to provide good feedback. Try to pick a pilot partner who is engaged and has an interest in the end product. And finally, if you can get a project champion in management, your hurdles will be much smaller, and you can focus on the nuts and bolts of the job rather than the politics. I was very fortunate to have just such a project champion in my West Coast sales manager. I'm confident in saying that Salesforce to Salesforce has helped us develop a streamlined and timely process that has increased visibility and reduced workload for all of us. Now, this is not for everyone, but it's working for us. Maybe it can work for you too. Thank you for your time today. I hope you may find some of this information useful in your old org. Thank you.
you, Ken. So I'm going to turn it over to Alan. And Alan, I know you're a wanderer, so I will be glad to man the
Can you hear me?
laptop.
Yeah, better. Good? Okay. All right. So can we go to the next page? All right, we'll kind of jump into it. First, who has heard of Lenovo? All right, I got to do my marketing. Purchased by Lenovo Holding Group. We got about 18,000 employees through nearly 60 countries. From our perspective, the challenge that my role as within the business is channel strategy, channel management, channel operations. The items that we were trying to address from a business perspective is breadth and depth. How do we get a better relationship with with our key business partners, which is where PRM really became strategic from deal registration. And then the second piece, how do we better grow our network or community of resellers? How do we measure and track their performance? So those are the two elements we looked at with their deployment. When you talk about PRM 101, we are truly PRM 101. We had nothing before besides spreadsheets. The way we were managing our business was literally taking some point-of-sale data, feeding it into spreadsheets, and trying to run everything off of that. The challenge with that is when you're trying to grow the number of partners, we weren't able to get the information we needed to be crisp in the decisions we were making. So as we looked at the two business issues that I was identifying, the breadth and depth, and how are we going to bring in a PRM solution, and how we're going to bring in deal registration to help us work with our top premium partners, we specifically were looking at the approach of what's going to be in it for a partner. Because again, in anything you do, whether it be internal or external, it has to be about utilization. It has to be about them being engaged and seeing the value to them, as well as what's the value to our business. Now, our business model is a little bit different from the PC space. We have basically partners with employee one to partners that are roughly $20 billion businesses. And in that, we have about 11,500 partners, so it's a big network. We had to look at that community of partners and say, how are we going to define the value for both sets? And that's part of what you'll see as we go into it a little bit more. But the value for our partners, we looked at this way. We have a group of partners called premium partners. Everyone segments their partners in tiers. Ours are called premium. And these are the partners that really do most of our large enterprise or large customer sales. And we wanted to have a way to help protect them to be comfortable in leading with Lenovo. And the idea behind that was to bring in deal registration. We had a process that was before that was, I'm going to use the word archaic, because it was spreadsheet, Word document, being used. And we weren't able to have the speed and responsiveness. So the value to our partners from the premium partners was that they would be able to come into a partner license that will allow them to come into the Lenovo Salesforce instance, do everything they need to do to manage and submit that deal, plus allow us to collaborate because they can see all the status. They can see our pipeline of the opportunities that we're working with them, so we can see really how tight these opportunities are and where they are in sales cycles. So it gives them information of what they're doing with us, obviously, as well as providing us the information of what's going on with these new leads. The other part is when the portal approach was being used for the premium partners is collaboration. They can now take tasks and send tasks directly to the sales rep inside of Salesforce. They can track activities and be able to have that documented within the way we're engaged in an opportunity. Again, the idea there being tightening the collaboration. Now, that works fine for our premium partners, and that's the approach that we'll be deploying. Roughly, we'll have 200 partners we're going to be putting initially this year onto the portal approach, and the rest of the partners, we're going to take the approach of using a web-to-lead form, which we're going to show briefly. The process within all partners is speed, right? Our process before was not able to get them the information from their point of origin directly into Lenovo into the correct reps. We had to fix that, and that's what we did through the web-to-lead approach. Now, our value is huge. The base foundation, we did not have a way for our end-user sales team, our partner team, and our business partners to really have a triangle of information. Right? How many leads within a partner called OnPoint are we working? What's the pipeline of those? Our channel rep may know part of them. Our end-user sales rep may know part of them, but it wasn't in a cohesive spot. So now you have the ability of knowing by rep how many opportunities are being worked by partner, and by partner how many opportunities are being worked with Lenovo. That's the key of that collaboration that we're able to bring in from a business perspective. I talked about the automation. That brings us speed, the reduction of spreadsheets. And then, again, as a result of using the PRM, linking in with the SFA or the CRM, we're able to use some of the same common practices that are being used across, like have open activities being able to be identified and be able to share tasks back and forth between all three of the groups. And then measurement. We had no measurement behind the prior process. That was a big gap, right? So what we're going to do this kind of in two steps. We're going to quickly show you the PRM implementation from the portal approach, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about the charts. I'm an open discussion kind of guy. So, I'm okay if there's specific questions and we drive it down that path. I can talk quickly through the key content that we do have captured because, again, I know that this is try to have your questions come in so we can get lots of value for you out of this. So Susan's going to take us through the PRM piece. Again, 2 implementation approaches, right? We have to have something that's available for 11,000 partners, but we really want to be able to get deep with roughly 350 partners. And that's why the demo that you're going to see now is what the portal view would be for those partners that we actually are issuing a Salesforce portal license. Okay?
So it gets to talk and I get to do the demo work. That's okay. That's how it works. So what I'm going to show you, as Alan mentioned, is I'm going to show you the partner portal experience, and we'll also briefly look at the web to lead capability as well. But what I did is I logged into a sandbox environment, and I'm going to show you what it looks like to log in as a partner. So I'm going to go ahead and log in as a portal user. And even though this is a sandbox, this is an accurate representation of what the portal looks like from a Lenovo partner portal experience. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a new lead. And this enables the partner to do the deal registration. So we've gone ahead in and we've added some fields that are going to be mandatory, and you can see that from the red lines. And I'm going to go ahead.
I'm going to just,
go ahead. Okay.
You know me well enough.
Yeah.
Some of the lessons learned, right? When you deal with partners that have lots of employees, you got to understand their business. Is there one person who sits at the computer and does deal registration and does all the submissions for all the programs, or is it a sales rep, right? And you got to need to identify the way they're going to do that. So the reason you see up on the top, submitted for and submitted by, the relationship I want is my sales rep inside Lenovo who gets that lead coming in. I want them to call the rep. I don't want them to call the administrator, right? So the upfront part says, are you submitting on behalf of someone else? Right? And then if so, they're capturing that information, so we bypass a step of figuring out who actually do I need to talk to you because I have questions about that lead. Okay?
Thank you, Alan. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm filling in some of the required information.
And as she's doing that, I'll keep talking. I stated we had a process that was running before. I said it was archaic, but it was being used and it was helping protect our partners for deals. We didn't want to reinvent the wheel, so the foundation was the form and the process that was used before. We were replicating in an automated manner through Salesforce. So we tried to take most of the fields that were in the form, make them logical in a form environment versus a Word document environment, and replicated that. So they already were comfortable with what's being asked, what do we need, and it's fed the process up to them.
Yeah, that's a great
point.
point.
Also shortened training, too.
Yep, that's a great point, Alan. I mean, starting out with something familiar, in this case, we weren't really changing the process per se in terms of the information that we were asking the partner to provide. So that was an easy transition for them into the portal. So I'm going to go ahead and, so I'm in the partner portal and I just did a deal registration. I just want to point out that there's other things that the partner can do in the portal. We did implement ideas for Lenovo, so if a partner has a great idea, they can suggest it. They have the ability to look at reports. If a salesperson has shared an opportunity with them that they've converted from a lead, they'll be able to access that opportunity. But for right now, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to go back into the Lenovo org and show you what it looks like from their perspective. So what I did is I actually submitted a lead, and I submitted it for Pepsi Cola, right? And so what happened was, behind the scenes, that lead was created, and it was matched against an existing customer. So what happened is we had, and I'm going to go ahead and just search for my lead here. And so you'll see that what happened is the lead got created, and the lead owner automatically became the account rep at Lenovo who owns Pepsi Cola. So we built some matching logic that said, look at the name of the company, look at the address of the company, and based on that logic, match it against the customers that we already have. And if we find a match, then go ahead and take that lead and submit it to the account owner for approval. So if I were to log in, you can see that this lead is owned by Daniel Willis. He's an account rep. If I were to log in as that Lenovo internal person, we can see here that on his home page, he now has a lead that's been submitted to him for approval. So what happened is the partner went on to the partner portal, they entered in their lead, the system matched the company that they entered in against a matching account within the Lenovo Salesforce org, and then automatically assign that lead to the account owner so that they can approve it. So now the account owner would be able to log in, look at that particular lead, and understand, did they provide all of the information, all of that value-add information that will allow me to approve this deal for deal registration? If they didn't, I can reject the lead, and a rejection notice will automatically go back to the partner. If they did provide all of that information, I can approve it, and then I can go ahead and convert that lead to an opportunity, all using standard Salesforce out-of-the-box functionality. And when I convert that lead to an opportunity as a Lenovo account manager, I'm using the same opportunity sales process, all of the same activities that I would normally do, right? So we did, I think, a nice job of marrying the channel sales stuff with what was already going in on the direct side of the house. So there was really no learning curve from the direct side of the house. It was simply, now we're getting leads from partners. You're going to be able to take those leads and convert them directly into opportunities in Salesforce. And if I were to go ahead and, let me just go back out here. And if I were to look within Salesforce, I'd be able to see that if I look at my dashboards, I have dashboards that'll show me my deal registration performance. So how many deal regs are being converted? How many are being approved? How many are being rejected? What's the average value of those leads? And the deal registration, just a plug for the App Exchange, this was something that we were able to download from App Exchange for free and be able to modify and tailor to what we needed to do. So that was another way that we were able to quickly...
Sandbox data, we're doing much better.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. Thank you. Caveat that. So this is the partner portal experience. I just want to point out briefly that we haven't forgotten about those other users as well. So if I were to log out of here, if I were to navigate to Lenovo homepage, I can go ahead and click on a link that's going to get me to this deal registration form. And you'll see that the data that we're asking for here is the same as the data that we're asking for from Salesforce. So the value-add activities, the product information, so those things are in sync. So again, the experience is similar from a data perspective. We're asking all partners for the same kinds of data, just some partners are going to be able to log into the portal, other partners are going to be able to use the web-to-lead form that we have. So that's just a kind of a brief showing of what we did at Lenovo for deal reg.
All right, so because of the manner that we've done this, kind of doing the demo, some of this is going to go quick, right? So the key point is know your partners. I had distinctly different partner types, how to define a flexible approach that solves our business needs that we're solving, map back to what their partner strategy and how they tend to do things, specifically little things like submit by, and you take a company like CDW, thousands of salespeople, you're not going to have 3,500 reps doing it. You got to understand the way they're going to be working with Lenovo. So next page. All right, build something that works. Now, as I stated up front, we're definitely PRM 101. We deployed this October 1. We started August 1. Our decision to pull forward to go employ or deploy happened July 1. It was a result of a decision that was part of a pilot that was run within the SFA side. So we saw really good traction from our sales organization around the Salesforce CRM. And when we were making the decision to go expand that, I now knew I had an ability to solve a problem that I was not able to ever solve before. Again, linking our channel, linking our partners, and linking our sales reps. So that's when we said, we're going to go do this. We used the services from Salesforce, basically end-to-end 8 weeks. Lessons learned, the user acceptance testing that you do with your partners. My urgency is not their urgency. So they were not moving as quick as we were hoping in that window of getting them to run through the testing and the scripting and be sure that we had their feedback, because again, it had to be easy to use for them. So next page. Stay with your process, we already covered, both in terms of not making it complex for our sales organization to have these new capabilities, but they have the approval process, and using what our partners have seen and are comfortable with before. Now, communication. Because we have this group of premium partners, and we're going to go and do the portal license experience with them, it was grassroots. It was a field rep sitting with either executive or the business development people saying, we're going to go grow our business together. One of the issues we've had is we haven't been able to have the program that's easy to use that allow you and your sales reps to be protected for their sales efforts and sales engagements. I'm sure you want to have your reps get protected for their selling efforts. Yes, right? So they would sit down, take them through the portal, do the education, get the commitment of who the right contact would be. We would then go and issue the portal license. Again, relatively small universe, about 350 accounts altogether. For the rest of them, how do you do the mass communications? It's basic marketing stuff. We've done electronic mail, we've done some direct mail, we've done webinars, we have all the Q&As and videos that walk through it, all the simple touch points that you can use to make it simple for someone who has not been engaged with the Lenovo deal registration process before, and utilize our portal and those other electronic means to try to reach them so they understand what we're doing, how to do it, and why they get benefit of going through deal registration. As mentioned, those that are portal users, we have opened up ideas because we want their feedback, right? As we continue to figure out what are the right things that we can do from a program perspective to help drive our business together, we want to hear and capture their feedback. It's one more mechanism besides hopefully talking to your rep, right? So, next week. So what's next on the roadmap? Within Lenovo, there's multiple different areas of things that we're looking at for Salesforce and what it can bring to our business, but specifically around the PRM side. It's taking marketing development funds, which probably most organizations do in some format or another, and doing a couple things. One, automate it so it's faster, not as intensive for a rep, and quicker to get the approvals back. Simple, right? You need to go do that. What we want to do is take an approach slightly different. I also don't have a documented account plan process. Top 20 accounts, a lot of senior executives go to those. You probably have good documented account plans, but the next 150 to 200 aren't documented as well. So the idea is to take your MDP with your account plans and link your marketing programs to the strategy of the account, right? So you'd basically be saying, here's my 4 key initiatives with this in the account. I expect to grow 12%. We're going to do these 5 things. Out of these 5 things, these 3 are going to require funds, and I'm going to then use the MDP process to issue the funds against those strategic business growth areas. As compared to just doing MDP today, yes, I gave you some money, we'll measure it on the back end. So each discussion becomes tied back to the objectives of the business. We will take the feedback, obviously, from our partners who are using this, whether it be through the deal registration web-to-lead form or portal users. We did build a process that says those that are using the web form, if they're submitting leads and we're approving lots of business, even though they're not premium, we're going to give them a portal license because we want to be that much more collaborative with whoever's looking to jointly help grow our business. So, I think that's it.
Great. So thank you, Alan.
All right.
I appreciate that. So just to recap, we really hope that you've seen the Fab 5 in action, the essentials of identifying the value to you and your partners, knowing who your partners are, so you can tailor a solution, whether it be Salesforce to Salesforce, portal, mobile, whatever the case might be, giving your partners something that's easy for them to use. Building something that works, making sure you've tested it out, telling them about it, communicating to it, and then keeping the ball rolling, understanding where you want to go from here. So we want you to remember the 5. Remember all of your options. So we've heard from Ken and from Alan 2 different approaches, one using Salesforce to Salesforce, the other using the partner portal. Think about what's going to work best for you. In some cases, it's going to be one or a combination of all. We've got web to lead, Salesforce to Salesforce, the portal, mobile for partners now. So please don't limit yourself when you think about what the best options are for your partners. So with that said, I'll just say that if you could, please complete an online survey about this particular session. It will allow you to tell us how we can do better, save a tree, and also potentially win you an iPod Nano. So, so next one, yes. So next one is question and answer. So we'll have the opportunity. I know we're running a little bit over, but if you do have any questions, please feel free.
Come to the microphone, please.
Yeah, if you could come to the microphone or shout really loud.
I can do that.
So I have 2 questions. Channel management as far as inventory is concerned with your partners, and what did you do about your historical data to get into the system?
Okay, so we actually took all of those spreadsheets and have brought in 12 quarters of historical data per partner. So I know their product trends, their sales trends, their customer segment trends, so that as a rep, I have that information, and with continuing improvements in reporting, do a lot more trending and analysis behind, indicators of when you don't see trajectories hitting targets. So that data is in there, in the base form. We are not, the PRM solution right now is targeted more for, I'll call it your Tier 2, what we call Tier 2 resellers. We're not really trying to pull in our distributor to Lenovo order information. We're SAP backend there. So I'm going to just separate it. This is more of the reseller side of the program, not necessarily the order directly from Lenovo to distribution or to retailer. That's still outside of scope at this point for us. Okay? Okay, so the answer is the premium partners will have the licenses for the portal, okay, and web delete is for everyone else. So you're correct. The comment I made about utilization is going to determine who gets them, because I may wind up taking them away from premier partners if they're not engaged. I mean, it's a benefit, not a right. So I will either reallocate licenses or I'll go buy more licenses for those that are embracing and using this as a growth avenue. Yeah. So 10,000, 11,000 roughly partners can just go onto our Lenovo partner landing page and click submit a deal from there. Yeah. Sure.
This is really about process. Starting with how the process works and how you've done it, who actually lives and qualifies those these kind of registration? It's usually one of the things that we're using is socializing our sales reps to fees, selling very multiple leads in there, and then also obviously these opportunities, and also that way how to kind of deal with multiple opportunities.
Yeah. So that process is key. And part of the reason, I think we're different from other people who've utilized deal registration is that we're bringing it directly to a rep. It's not going to the channel manager. So we're going to the source of the person who will know what other leads are going on. We'll know that there's 3 other partners talking to them about the same deal so that you have the best chance of preventing duplication. So it's at the point of the rep making the decision to approve it. That rep is also the person that will say, hey, I already got this in the system. It's named a little bit differently, but I already know about it. We can still submit that opportunity for the partner from a deal reg approval, but then they would merge the 2 leads, right, is what they would do to make it where it's a single record.
So is it across the organization and you have multiple reps that get that and they train to really kind of work that process properly then?
To be determined. We haven't seen issues of multiple leads coming up frequently. And again, since we're relatively new, I haven't had enough history to say that, that in the last 60 days I've had 62 instances of duplicate leads. So it's one of those things we'll have to watch for.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, no, good questions. Any additional? Anything?
I actually have 2 different questions.
Okay.
One is for free. So all of your partners are going to get Salesforce capabilities.
Not true. The partner folks, of course, to incentivize them, we gave them free orgs. We did have 2 partners that had existing Salesforce orgs out of the dozen we've got. The other ones, we respectfully requested that they sign up.
So the connections were free.
Oh, yeah, the connections are free.
They had to buy a license.
Yeah. No, that's the way I configured it, just to keep it really simple and trimmed down. But in their org, they can set it up any way they want.
So through the partner portal approach as well, you can feed as much information you want out to that partner. So if I want to start showing that 12 quarters of revenue trends, I could. When I get to that point, though, I think I want to have 2 administrative rights. Right? One for the executive that says, how is my business performing with Lenovo? The other one, the administrator, who's going to get your base, enter and submit and do what you need to do. Right? But you can customize what they say.
You're next.
Thank you for both of your
For us, we did actually consider that, and it was a price consideration that really kind of broke that for us. You know, for us, if we could get our partners to go ahead and join up, a group license as when we first started this was $99 per user per org. It's now $420, but still considerably less than it would cost us to put on a license for each of them. Security, there's good security inside of Salesforce, so we could have made it work. We considered, we decided we could have done it, but we chose not to for economic reasons.
Sir? Oh, ma'am, as he's going.
I'll ask my question first. This is for Alan. How many partners did you initially, in your for the partner portal, did you roll out to?
For the partner portal, we're at 65 right now through 60 days.
And do you have a number for the average number of licenses that were needed per partner?
That was determined by the sales rep, right? Again, depending on the model of how that business was working, you can take an account that may have 4 significant branch locations across the United States. Having a single person was not going to be the right route to get it done. And they would say, hey, I need 4 licenses for these 4 people. And
But you don't know from your implementation the average number per partner?
It's interesting that some of our largest partners are preferring to use the web form at this point because they do want the rep to do it directly, and it's the simplest way for them to deploy. For those that are more traditional tier 2s, I haven't calculated the average, but it's less than 2. Right? It is. It's probably sitting like 1.4. We have probably every third saying I need 2 licenses.
I'm trying to sell this to my management, and they're just looking at the cost of the licenses, purely all they're looking at.
Yeah, and that's why you have to make the decision of where do I want to deploy it, right? And that's why we're starting with the premium partner. But rest assured, these guys know that if you're not participating in this program, we will pull that, we will release you, and we'll put it to someone else who wants to grow, right? So recycling is okay, right? It's buy in or lose this one function. We're not going to stop the relationship, but you just won't have this capability.
Thank
right?
you.
Yes, sir.
I have a question regarding partner food and if a partner company already has existing CRM or a bank up and running, going to try to opportunity in the company, then that company will have done their entry one to their own CRM or separated system, and the other to the partner portal you built. How do you persuade the partner to make it happen?
A really good question, right? Because if you already have a CRM solution, it does require a double entry of this record. I'll call it, it's the carrot, right? If you are engaged in the selling effort for an account and you're meeting with Lenovo, you can choose not to do it because it's double work, or you could choose to do it and be protected. That, we will put you as the partner of record on that opportunity. And that motivation of knowing I'm not going to spend 4 months through a selling cycle to have someone come in at the last minute to potentially win the deal, I hope that's the right motivation. I don't know how to fix that except for longer term, maybe Salesforce to Salesforce for those specific accounts that we can build that bridge, right? Build that linkage. But I did not come into this trying to solve that because that would be most of our partners have that issue because you got HP on a system, you may have someone else on the system, right? Linksys could be on a system, so they're doing multiple points of submission as well. So it's something they're familiar with, may not like. But I didn't know how to solve that with my deployment. Yeah, that's a good question. It's the right question to ask, too.
I'll try and make this brief. Do you guys have stocking distributors, and then how do you manage what they're selling out of their stock versus what you're drop shipping, and then how do you roll that into your pipeline, or is it something you keep separate?
Yeah, similar to the question that came before. For those partners that buy product directly from Lenovo, we're not using Salesforce today to manage inventory, POS, sales out. We're feeding in the sales that happen from distribution to the rest of our reseller network. And that's where our current PRM deployment is disty out to someone.
But how do you pull that into your pipeline, or do you?
We have a different management system between those that we buy and ship to directly, right? Different cadence, different management system that links into order loads, tracking, trajectories. Currently not embedded in Salesforce.
Okay.
Right, yeah. But if you want to, you can grab me afterwards, because it's kind of a real deep question that may not be applicable for all. Because we actually get great information, it's just where we're choosing to start. So back this way. It's a good question. I have a skeleton crew myself. I mean, I got 6 people. We support about $2 billion. So it's pretty lean. I took one person and said, you have to become the administrator to take the, again, it's a small enough amount of accounts, right? So it's scalable. As you identify a new contact to get the partner license to, she would go into SFTC, make sure the contact's there, issue the password out. And so I've grabbed a portion of an existing headcount to help become kind of my channel administrator for PRN. She's sinking, but she's not dead. I mean, it is additional workload, but it hasn't been overwhelming. And part of it is I think we will continue to evolve, 20, 25 a week, right, type of thing as we continue to add partners onto the PRN side. So we didn't come into it with a list of, here's 350. I almost wish we did. But it's rolling as the reps get to the right people, get the commitment. Here's the 20 for this week. And so because Lenovo does have more people, we are able to leverage some of the SFA CRM side to help us with some reports and some dashboards and some other things. But we use the services of Salesforce because I don't have people, and I wanted to be able to get this going quick, and I want to be working in a measurable way quickly. And so I was able to do that in 8 weeks. And now it's, okay, I don't have this dashboard view. I really want that. And so I'm borrowing some pieces of people to help get that done.
Second question, did you ever consider like a pay-for-play approach? You forced your partners to...
Respectfully requested.
No, all of our premium partners do significant enough revenue that the cost of the license, all they need to do is bring in one new deal that we wouldn't have known otherwise, and it's paid for. And if we can get more collaborative for them to bring more deals into us, we win. The cost per the protection and the value it gives them is worth it, and it's not big dollars.
I think one last question.
Yeah, it's similar to his first question, but I was curious, and maybe this is more for Salesforce. If you have a larger partner with several portal users, can they administer their own licenses? So can you delegate them?
Yes, you can actually delegate. So when you take someone that may have 10 licenses, you can assign them as an authenticator, right? And you got one like super user in there that can then say, here's my 6 licenses, and as long as they stay to that 10 or whatever you give them, they can manage them within their team. I don't have enough of those yet. We haven't done it yet. But I'm looking for those partners that become 10, 12, 15 users.
Yeah, it's a feature called Delegated Administrator, and if you look at the help, yep, absolutely, you can set that up.
So if you want my card or our cards, or if you have questions, I can. Thank you.
Thank you.
We should wrap it up.
All right, thank you.